The door to the nail salon opened with a soft jingle, heralding the entrance of Emily, a young woman in unassuming attire, her demeanor humble yet confident. She stepped into the salon, her eyes taking in the chic decor and the rows of vibrant nail polish lining the walls. Behind the reception desk, a woman with perfectly styled hair and immaculate makeup glanced up. Her eyes, sharp and assessing, briefly swept over Emily, narrowing ever so slightly. It was a look that carried a subtle, unspoken judgment, as if Emily's modest dress was somehow out of place in the salon's fashionable ambiance. Emily, unperturbed by the administrator's less than welcoming gaze, made her way to the desk. The administrator, Rachel, sighed with apparent inconvenience and set aside her smartphone, its screen still aglow from her recently interrupted social media browsing. "Do you have an appointment?" she asked, her voice dripping with a tone that was more robotic than hospitable. Her fingers danced over the register, not really expecting to find Emily's name. The salon was relatively quiet, the hum of conversation from the few customers mingling with the soft background music. It was clear from the sparsely filled appointment book that the day was not particularly busy. Rachel seemed to size up Emily, assuming, perhaps because of her simple clothing, that Emily couldn't have afforded the services anyways. "Do you work exclusively by appointment?" Emily inquired politely, her gaze drifting to an unoccupied nail station, its chair invitingly empty. Rachel, now leaning back in her chair with an air of superiority, responded with a hint of condescension. "Today, we're a bit understaffed. Only 2 technicians are in, and as you can see," she gestured languidly towards the occupied stations, "they're quite busy. We might squeeze you in if you don't mind waiting, but I can't make any promises." Emily's eyes followed Rachel's gesture, noting that one of the technicians was just finishing up with a client. The scene suggested that her wait might not be as long as implied. Sensing an opportunity, she decided to stay. "I'll wait, thank you," Emily replied, her tone firm yet polite, choosing to overlook Rachel's thinly veiled arrogance. As Emily took a seat in the waiting area, Rachel watched her with a faintly amused expression, as if the idea of someone like Emily waiting for a last-minute slot was somehow amusing or out of the ordinary. Rachel, after casting a dismissive glance at Emily, swiftly turned her attention back to her phone. Her disinterest was palpable, leaving Emily to find her way to a plush sofa on her own. As she settled into the soft cushions, Emily caught another fleeting look of displeasure from Rachel, a look that seemed to say she didn't quite belong. Emily offered a small, resilient smile in response, determined not to let the cold reception dampen her spirits. She was here for a bit of pampering, and she wasn't about to let Rachel's attitude rob her of that pleasure. As the nail technician finished up her work, the salon's atmosphere shifted almost palpably. Rachel, previously so aloof and disengaged, suddenly became the epitome of charm and warmth. She approached the elegantly dressed client, her voice honeyed and her smile bright. "Miss Harrington, your nails look absolutely stunning as always," Rachel exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with the practiced adoration. "The color choice is just perfect for you." The client, Ms. Harrington, a picture of poise and grace, glanced at her freshly manicured nails and beamed. "Thank you, dear. I always trust your team to make the best suggestions. You never disappoint." "Oh, it's our pleasure entirely," Rachel replied, her tone effusive. "We strive to provide the best service to our esteemed clients. It's always a delight to see you here." Ms. Harrington, retrieving her purse, pulled out a few bills, placing them on the counter with a gentle smile. "Well, the service today was exceptional. Keep up the good work." Rachel's eyes lit up at the sight of the generous tip. "Thank you so much, Ms. Harrington. We truly appreciate your kindness and patronage. I hope we'll be seeing you again soon." "Absolutely," Ms. Harrington affirmed, her voice laced with the confidence of someone accustomed to such pleasantries. "I wouldn't trust anyone else with my nails. See you in a couple of weeks." With a final exchange of pleasantries, Ms. Harrington gracefully exited the salon, leaving Rachel momentarily basking in the glow of the successful interaction. As the door closed behind Ms. Harrington, Rachel's smile faded, her attention quickly diverting back to her phone. The mask of hospitality dropped as swiftly as it had been donned. Another 10 minutes ticked by as the second technician finished up. Typically, the conclusion of a service would be the cue for Rachel to attend to the next client, to offer a warm welcome or perhaps assist with a coat. But instead, something unexpected happened. The nail technician, after a brief exchange with Rachel, disappeared into the back office, following the first technician. The salon, now quiet, seemed to amplify the awkwardness of the situation. Emily glanced around, wondering if perhaps she had misunderstood Rachel's earlier suggestion that she might be accommodated. Rachel, still engrossed in her phone, seemed completely oblivious to Emily's presence. After an excruciatingly slow 5 minutes ticked by, each second stretching longer than the last, Emily's patience began to fray at the edges. Rising from the plush sofa, she made her way back to the reception desk, her resolve stealing with each step. Rachel, still engrossed in her phone, didn't look up until Emily stood directly in front of her. "Excuse me," Emily began, her voice calm but firm. "Could you please tell me when someone will be free to assist me?" Rachel finally lifted her eyes from her phone, her gaze cold and uninviting. "Do you not see we're on a break?" she snapped, her tone dripping with disdain. The technicians work meticulously with tiny brushes and tiny nails all day. They need a break to rest their eyes and hands. "They'll be back to attend to you once they're done." Her words were edged with a sharpness that made Emily take a small step back. Emily, taken aback by the blunt rudeness, struggled to maintain her composure. "I understand that, but I was under the impression there would be a slight wait, not a complete halt of service." Rachel let out an exaggerated sigh, her impatience evident. "Well, you understood wrong. It's not like we're running a factory line here. Quality takes time, and rest is part of that quality. You'll get your turn when they're ready, not a minute sooner." As Rachel spoke, her eyes appraised Emily, taking in her modest clothing and unadorned appearance. An idea seemed to flicker in her eyes, one that brought a smug, almost cruel smile to her lips. She chose, quite deliberately, not to mention the salon's high-end pricing. The thought of Emily's potential surprise, or better yet shock, at the cost, seemed to please her. Emily, sensing an unspoken judgment from Rachel's scrutinizing gaze, felt a flush of embarrassment mixed with annoyance. Yet she held her ground, her voice steady. "Very well, I'll wait. But I do hope the service will be worth the delay." Rachel merely shrugged, her arrogance palpable. "We're the best in town. If you can't appreciate that, it's your loss, not ours." What a first day to start my career, Emily mused to herself. She hadn't come to the salon to get her nails done. Not at all. In fact, she hated doing her nails, and if Rachel was attentive enough to look at her nails, instead of trying to judge her by the way she was dressed, she would have probably guessed that Rachel's nails were perfectly fine and didn't really need any job done. Emily's return from Germany marked not just the culmination of her academic journey, but also a reflective pause in her lifelong passion for the arts. In high school, Emily was more than just interested in art. She was deeply immersed in it. Her days were a vibrant tapestry of sketching, painting, and exploring various art forms. She spent countless hours in the art studio, her hands often stained with paint or dusted with charcoal, her mind alive with creative fervor. Her teachers often remarked on her innate talent and unwavering dedication, predicting a bright future for her in the art world. Emily's dreams were vast and vivid. She envisioned herself as a renowned artist, her works exhibited in prestigious galleries across the globe. She dreamed of revolutionizing the art scene, blending traditional techniques with modern perspectives to create something truly unique. These aspirations were the driving force behind her decision to study at one of the best arts and design schools in Germany, a place she believed would be the crucible for her creative metamorphosis. However, reality unfolded differently. The rigorous academic environment and the competitive nature of the art world were both exhilarating and daunting. While she excelled in her studies, the practicalities of making a living through art became increasingly apparent. The art world was not just about talent and passion, it was also about connections, marketing, and sometimes sheer luck. Emily realized that her path as an artist would be fraught with challenges, but this revelation did not dampen her spirit. Instead, it added a layer of realism to her dreams. She returned home not with a diminished passion, but with a more grounded understanding of what it would take to achieve her dreams in the art world. And the first step was to finally admit to her dad that she was wrong. Emily's father, Gerald, was now a sturdy man in his mid-50s with a kind but serious face. He was the proud owner of a thriving chain of gyms that dotted the state, a testament to his hard work and dedication. However, his journey to success wasn't a solo endeavor. His wife, Amanda, was the mastermind behind the gym business. Their story began years ago when they were newlyweds. Amanda, always proactive about health, had just given birth to Emily.